trophy antlered bucks. Let's keep this in perspective. A trophy antlered buck to one person may be the first antlered buck they ever shot, or a buck with 100 inches of antler, while a trophy antlered buck to another person may be a buck with 170 plus inches of antler. For us, if we can grow a buck that has 150 plus inches of antler, then he is a trophy to us. We call this particular buck Sticker Buck. Ron videoed him for over 20 minutes. There was a hot doe with him, but she is just out of camera range. Ron got some cool video, especially when the buck goes right underneath him. I wasn't kidding when I said right underneath him. I'm sorry I didn't get very good video of this particular buck. We called this buck Kristen's 12-point. We videoed him the previous year when he was 3.5 years old. He is 4.5 years old in this video. His antlers only grew a little bit from the age of 3.5 to 4.5. The reason for this was that when he was 3.5 years old, he ran himself ragged during the rut. He must have lost close to 45 pounds. As a result of this, I'm sure it took quite a while for him to regain his weight, which probably took away from his antler growth a little bit this year. The other story I want to share with you is that as you see the buck looking to the left, Ron didn't realize that there was another buck just off the field. It was just before dark and a big 9-point came out and confronted this big 12-point. Ron said the 9-point was kicking the 12-point's butt. It got to the point that Ron thought the 9-point was going to severely hurt the 12-point. So guess what? Ron shot the 9-point. The 9-point was actually on our hit list, but Ron didn't realize it was him. The 9-point was 3.5 years old and weighed 236 pounds. He only had 116 gross inches of antler. On the other hand, this 12-point has over 165 inches of antler. This just proves what we learned several years ago. The buck with the biggest antlers isn't necessarily doing all the breeding. As a matter of fact, it's usually the buck with either an attitude, a larger body, or both that does most of the breeding. We just nicknamed this buck the Big 12-point. I was able to grunt him in. That is why you see him coming towards me, and then he's trying to find the buck that he thought he heard. This buck is also 4.5 years old. He's doing his best to find that buck that he thought he heard. we just nicknamed this buck the Big 9. This buck is also 4.5 years old. We had a major drought in 2011, so I'm sure this buck did not reach his full antler potential. We had virtually no food plots, but fortunately we were providing supplemental feed. Without the supplemental feed, our deer would have been less healthy. Since we have made the decision to carry approximately 60 deer per square mile, then it's our responsibility to make sure that they have the necessary food to support them. This video is just after the rut, and I would guess this buck has lost about 25 pounds since the beginning of the season. This is the buck that we nicknamed Piebald. He is not a piebald deer, it is just the nickname we gave him as a fawn. If you haven't watched our video of Piebald yet, then make sure you go to our website and watch it. We actually have video of him for all 5 seasons of his life. He is also 4.5 years old. This buck we nicknamed Tex. He really doesn't belong on this video because I'm putting him on my video called Young Bucks with Potential. It was such a cool video, so I figured I would put it here in case you don't watch the other video. Make sure your volume is up so you can hear him grunting. I had a doe underneath me and saw 2 bucks walking by about 100 yards away. I grunted, and sure enough they both came in. The first buck was a 2.5-year-old 9-point that is on my other video. This buck is a basic 8-pointer. You can't see her, but there is a doe just underneath me and to my right. Here comes the grunting. I hope you enjoyed watching this video, and thank you for watching. If you have not done so already, remember to watch our video of the buck we nicknamed Piebald. Also, please check out our management software that we have been using for the last several years. If you're trying to manage a deer herd, then you have to be keeping records in order to know what management decisions you need to make and to also see if your management plan is working. Please read my management articles where I explain how the software provides us with the information that we need to make our management decisions.